Have you ever found yourself missing a workout here or there? Something comes up, you might have to stay at work a little later, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you've fallen completely off of your routine, and now it's like you've gone 6 months without having shown up to any sort of workout or exercise or activity that you used to be taking part of on a regular weekly basis, maybe multiple times every single week. Today, we're going to talk about how to restart your fitness after having fallen off for 6 months, 12 months, a couple years, because that's actually one of the most common things that I hear when people first step foot into our facility here. They used to be super active, but all of a sudden, whether due to an injury, a temporary injury, or a permanent injury, they've fallen off their wagon or got a little busy with work, life event happens, they just moved, whatever it is, things come up, and those things cause us to fall off the wagon, and our goal is to figure out how to best get ourselves back on so that we can, again, show up consistently and feel good, feel energized, confident, and really reap the benefits that exercise and fitness has for us. So one topic that I want to bring up that has to do with that is CrossFit's sickness fitness continuum. And this is one of the topics, actually one of my favorite topics within CrossFit. And basically on one side you have sickness and one side you have fitness. Now I guess you could look at this as a line, but they have it drawn out as a spectrum, just like a rainbow like this. And basically we're able to look at certain metrics, whether it's how quickly you run a mile or a 400-meter dash, or how much you deadlift, what are you eating on a regular basis, but very specific metrics that essentially can help us tell where you are on this spectrum of, are you close to sickness or are you close to fitness? And the really cool thing is the closer and closer we push to the fitness end of the spectrum, the healthier we are going to be, so that when something does come up in life, like the things that I mentioned before, and throws us off track, yes, we are going to slide back slightly. However, odds are, if we're really close to that fitness end of the spectrum, we're not going to slide back far enough to actually get to the point where our bodies start getting sick, we start experiencing diseases or things of that nature, right? So that's actually one of my favorite topics within CrossFit, the sickness fitness continuum, and it encourages us and gives us a really, visible, tangible way to see okay, the closer we are to fitness, the healthier we are going to be, so that we don't run into those issues when we fall off the wagon. So I just wanted to run through that real quick, and now let's dive in. So let's say you have fallen off the wagon, so some of those things came up in your life, and now 6 months later, 12 months later, 2 years later, it's like, I really got to get back into this. You might notice that your clothes aren't fitting as well as before. It's a little heavier walking around on a regular basis. The stairs feel like a nightmare to get up. Where do we start, right? So first, I want you to map out the first 30 days, okay? We're going to take the first 30 days to do a real quick reset, kind of get yourself back in shape, get yourself back in action. Now, you're not going to wipe out 20 pounds, 40 pounds, 60 pounds within these first 30 days, or get back to your original, deadlift weight or your squat weight, whatever it is. The goal of these first 30 days is to get you back in that routine so that you're showing up on a regular basis. You're going to sleep at night on time. You're paying a little more attention to the things that you're eating, so that at the end of those 30 days, we can kind of bump up the intensity a little bit, but you've already got the consistency dialed in. Because one of the biggest things that people struggle with when they're getting back on track or getting started in the first place is not having the consistency, or trying to dive in too hard and showing up to the gym 6-7 times a week for 60-minute weightlifting workouts, 90-minute workouts, and all of a sudden you're hurting from head to toe. You're sore from the moment you wake up in the morning to when you fall asleep, and then 2 weeks later it's like, I can't deal with this anymore. Forget about it, right? So again, the goal of these first 30 days is to make it a habit for you to show up and be consistent, okay? And a really simple way to track this is literally for you to bust out a piece of paper and draw 30 boxes, or print out a little calendar or something, and and you're just gonna mark it, whether you're paying attention to your nutrition, your sleep, your mood, your workouts. Check it off. Each day that you hit all of those markers, check it off. That way you have a visible way of tracking yourself, keeping yourself accountable. But anyways, back into what you should do in the first 30 days. And this is the part where you need to have a little more awareness about how you best function. For some people, you can jump back in showing up to your workouts 5 or 6 times a week and be really consistent. You might not be able to operate at 100% capacity because our body has to adapt and adjust to build up to that point. But yes, you won't have any problems showing up 5 or 6 times a week every single day and just knocking those out. For other people, especially beginners who are just starting out, that might be a little intense. That's a really big leap from, let's say even a time perspective of committing 0 hours a week to all of a sudden you're spending 6-7 hours a week working out, another 5 or 6 hours like prepping, getting to the workout, showering afterwards, all of those things that have to do with the workout. It's going from like a 0 hour a week time commitment up to a 10 or 15 hour a week time commitment. So that's almost, half of a job there. So understand yourself, understand what you're gonna work best off of, and then go from there. Now, one way I would recommend, again, just because these first 30 days is solely about accountability and showing up and being consistent, make it simple. You don't even need to push yourself. Again, we're just trying to be consistent here. Put it on your schedule, put it on your calendar, 30 minutes a day or 60 minutes a day if you're willing. Just go out and walk. Like, that's it. That's simple. Before work, after work, lunch break, up to you. However, I think people don't understand the significance of, if you're just able to be consistent with it, a 30-minute walk or a 60-minute walk is gonna have dramatic impacts on how you feel, and overall what your body is going to be like within just a 30-day span of time. I think there's a truck over there. Okay, I think the truck's leaving. Anyways, so make it simple. Maybe you have the ability to show up to a gym, show up to a workout, and that's okay with you. But if not, you want to be consistent, show up for 30 minutes a day, 60 minutes a day, and just go walk. It's that easy. Now, the 4 elements that I would really want you to pay attention to and observe are: 1, your fitness. What are you doing for exercise, for movement, physical activity? Your nutrition. What are you eating? Now, I personally am not a big fan of overhauling your diet completely and saying, okay, I'm gonna change every little thing from today on and eat by these rules, unless you have a framework that's already worked for you in the past. And the reason why I don't like that huge overhaul is because, again, these are very big changes. If you started eating, completely different, your body's gonna react to that. All right, there is actually the possibility of you cutting out sugar completely. And if you were consuming a lot of sugar, a lot of corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup on a regular basis, you might really be feeling like withdrawals from making that large of a change right off of the bat. So I say start with 1 meal at a time, okay? Switch out your breakfast, then switch out your lunch after the 30 days. Once you're consistent with those, switch out your dinner. Swap out your snacks, but choose one and stick to it. The reason why I like to start out with a breakfast is that you start your day off strong. You feel good, and if you don't eat breakfast, then start with whatever your first meal of the day is. But again, one step at a time, unless you already have that framework there that you've experienced before and you know that, oh, this works for me, I can replicate this and just hit the ground running. Again, focus is on consistency, because as long as we can get through the first 30 days, the first 60 days, and show up, be consistent, then your body's gonna be able to kind of adapt, adjust, and pick up these habits, and now that's almost like your new normal, right? So after nutrition, 2 things that we actually really like tracking here with our member is your mood and your sleep. Why? Because our sleep plays a huge role on how we feel and how our body is able to rest and recover. And if we're coming out of a night of poor sleep, then you're gonna notice that you're probably not going to feel as energized, as productive throughout the day. You might have a little harder time at work. When people talk to you, it might be like, don't talk to me, right? And that's going to impact whether or not you feel like, oh, I'm off work, I'm going to go hit my workout, get it done, or it's like, forget it. I'm going to go, watch a movie, watch some TV, eat some ice cream. But studies have actually shown that sleep deprivation has led people to consume more calories, and not just that, but also they tend not to eat the healthiest food. Let's call it junk food, but sleep deprivation kind of does that to you. And again, back to the whole workout thing, you are also more likely to miss your workouts when you are not properly rested. Your mood seems to go down with those days as well. So again, the things that we like to track are your sleep and your mood. So we can kind of see on an ongoing basis, if all of a sudden, this person starts missing their workouts and missing their nutrition, first thing I'm gonna do is dial back into that sleep, that mood, see like, oh, you weren't sleeping that great these 3, 4, 5 nights. And that seems to have been causing you to miss your workouts, to eat terribly. So instead of trying to get them back in for their workouts or back on track with their nutrition, now we can say, oh, hey, why haven't you been sleeping, right? Long days at work, stressed out. Maybe you're just staying up all night on your phone. Maybe that's the reason. However, that gives us a really great framework to help keep people on track and get them back on track whenever they do fall off. So kind of those are just some tips and strategies that we use to help our members here get back on track whenever they do fall off track, or when they're coming in for the first time, for the first 30 days, for the first 60 days, just to make sure, again, we can help build that habit and make it a consistent and regular thing for you to do, to show up to your workouts, to eat great, so that you can feel good and look great from there on out. So I hope this video helped you out. If it did, leave a comment below. Shoot me a message if there's any other topics that you would like covered. And if you feel like this would help out anyone you know, do us a favor, share it with them. Helps us, it helps them, and that's what we're here to do, to help you all out. So thanks again for watching. Take care until the next video.